I'm not ready.
Faithful ride with me. Red and gold blooded to the day I D.I.E. Reppin' Niner gang and it's all I bleed. Racking up dubs in my Levi jeans. And we run over the league with our whole team. Be that number one seed cause we ballin'. Putting in that work early in the morning. Super Bowl team and now these haters salty.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to IE Sports Radio. I'm Niners Jess, along with Ty Austin, Maddie B, and your girl Bex. We are the East Coast Red and Gold. What's going on, guys?
What's going on? We back, baby.
We are back. That's right.
We're
back.
Licking wounds and still healing, you know.
Yeah, definitely. So
I mean, the first thing hold on. Can I start off with one thing? I want to thank Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky for getting me through the last 2 weeks while I ate my feelings and things that were going on.
You know.
It's a brisket beef jerky. It's a jerky. It's on a whole other planet. And again, you can make sure you find out more about them at planetjerky.net. And make sure to follow IE Sports Radio on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok to keep up with the latest with all of us. So,
hey, if you got to do some binge eating, Planet Jerky's jerky is the way to go. You know,
right?
That's right.
Gluten free, process free, all natural.
Boom. Slide that in.
Feedback was excellent too, by the way, on my little gift.
Cool.
Thank you for that shout out, Rob. By the way, and noticing that was a very quick plug tonight. We appreciate you being on your.
I know, right? Rob's always on it.
Damn
yeah,
it, Rob.
you threw that in there. It was nice. It was good.
Okay.
I wasn't prepared.
Clearly.
A little seltzer up the nose. I was like, wait a minute. Is he doing this?
It's like a home Navage kit. Yes, totally understood.
All right, guys. Let's, we weren't on last week. I was feeling a little under the weather. Let's talk a little bit about this Super Bowl loss before we get into all the other news and rumors. Maddie, why don't you start?
You guys know when, like, sometimes the season premiere, like, of a show starts and they show you, like, the ending scenario and they're in the interview room,
yeah,
right? And the cops are like, so why don't you tell us, like, how this happens, right? And I feel like right now we are in that position where we kind of have to go back and look at where we are right now, right? And look at all the evidence and then go back to the beginning as to where it all started, right? And once again, we're caught in some sort of time loop from hell where the same thing keeps happening over and over, like Groundhog Day, where we dominate the majority of the Super Bowl and then lose it in the end in various manners, which, again, you could live with losing a tight Super Bowl, but the problem that really, really gets you, okay, outside of the fact there was a million things, if it just went their way one time, they win the Super Bowl, but it's the armchair quarterbacking from total morons and the drive-by media that have absolutely no idea what happened out here from, like, preseason to now outside of whatever they put out in their mind. And now they're like, oh, this mattered and that mattered and this. At the end of the day, like, the same thing happened again. The 49ers got out-toughed, right? Their offensive line got beaten and their defensive line got beaten. Until they fix that, they're not going to get over the top. So we'll figure out how to get there later. But really, to me, those are the two things that stuck out. Outside of the fact that, once again, special teams comes out of nowhere to kick us in the absolute balls. Like, whether you have them or not, it's the same thing. Same stomach cramps, goes all the way up into your chest, right? You take a knee, you're like, I need to catch my breath. That's what it is with the special teams. Every damn Super Bowl, every damn playoff game, every key point, outside of the Packers game a couple of years ago in the snow, I got nothing. I got absolutely nothing. Once again, it just shows up at the worst possible time. Catch the damn ball. That's all you got to do. We don't expect you to return it anymore. Just catch it. Just catch it.
He had to jump on it.
So yeah, actually, that was the difference there.
Jump, pardon me. It was more of a jump on it sort of deal, right? Just get on it.
It touched the guy, and he saw it touch the guy, so it was live. But don't be a hero. Don't try to pick it up and run with it. Just on the ground and have it covered. Stop with the heroics. Like, yeah, that's the part that just was when I still haven't rewatched the game, but I was like, damn it, why? Don't be a hero. Just don't try it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm a playmaker. My first instinct is to make a play. Damn it. No, the play you make there, that is the play to make there.
Save the play. Save it for another play. Don't let this ball get in anyone else's hands. And, I just felt like it was a series of unfortunate events. When does Christian McCaffrey fumble? Never, almost never. And, we got lucky that we forced the fumble on the other side, So I felt like the defense played fairly well in the first, almost 3 quarters, really. They kept Patrick Mahomes off his game. He didn't have an answer, a place to go really with the ball. This is literally me remembering what I saw drunk in the bar because I still haven't watched the game. So I do think we outplayed them for 3 quarters, 100%. The fourth quarter, we had the turnover and that put them back in the game. That was a momentum shift right there. That play gave them all the gas they wanted. And I think it deflated the defense enough. They were tired. And then we had all the injuries, just all of these death by 1,000 cuts. You can't overcome. I've said it 1,000 times. You can't overcome losing players, having penalties called against you, turning over the ball. All of these things happen in a single game. Your odds of winning go down tremendously. And at the end of it, we were still tied and went into overtime with a shot, a brand new game, right? Then it's the whole overtime rules. I don't know. Did we do the right thing? Did we not do the right thing? Clearly we didn't, but was that really the right call? I mean, if you have confidence in your offense to go score, I think you take the ball first. You go down, you get your score in, and you own that. I don't know. Anyway.
If your offensive line does their job, it's the right decision.
It's the right decision, right? Yeah. And we had that miscommunication in the fourth quarter there when Feliciano went down. So you lose a guy and someone else comes in to take over. We love Spencer, and I thought Spencer saved the interception on the Juwan Jennings touchdown. I don't know if anybody wants to give him credit for that, but he came up and he took that dude out that had a beat on that, was going to run right in front of that. Spence Burford took him right out. So for whatever criticism he gets for that other play, he gets kudos for me for that one because he really, truly saved that.
I don't blame Spencer Burford for that. I blame Chris Jones for being a friggin' freak, right? The guy just had our effing number in big game. There's just no way around it. I have no other explanation for it outside of just to tip your cap. That guy kicks our ass on a regular basis. So until you can figure out a way to neutralize or keep Chris Jones from affecting every single play that's out there, you're not going to beat the Chiefs. Great news, though. We get him at home next year. So that'll be fun.
Had him at home last year.
Quite great. Yep.
Not sure.
Back to you, Jess.
Crying in my rally towel in case anyone didn't know.
Super Bowl to me was a typical 49ers losing a game, just shooting themselves in the foot repeatedly, letting the other team linger, and faltering in the end when this game could have been a blowout. It shouldn't have been close. We could have set the tone early and did a whole lot of damage. And once again, since on topic, if you look at the games we've lost to the Chiefs in particular, not just the Super Bowls, but regular season ones, the common theme is somehow their best defensive player causes havoc and somehow gets unblocked. How does that happen? Like, how and why? Like, normally on the defensive line, you identify who's the best defender, right? Like, teams come in and they identify, where's Nick Bosa? He's there. We're going to make sure he's blocked.
Or held 1,000 times. It never.
Yeah.
But he gets a lot of pressures.
For some reason, Chris Jones doesn't even get blocked sometimes. It's the wildest thing.
It blows my mind.
Yeah. And you guys know how I feel about our special teams coach. Dan Schnegenberger.
What's his name?
Schnegenberger. I don't know. Schnellenberger. What's his name? I don't even know. Doesn't matter.
Brian Schneider.
Yeah. Bryant Schneider. Coaching situational football, right? On a kickoff, you have the whole entire opposition running at this one person. They're trying to just get at this one person, get the ball. If the ball hits the ground, whatever, you teach that guy. You got 11 guys coming at you. Just jump on the ball. Just jump on the ball. Give your offense the opportunity to go downfield. But for you, just jump on the ball. It's rough. It's rough just to see the team just shoot themselves in the foot, and it's like, we should not be in this position. I just felt that way for like 4 quarters. We should not be in this position. Mm-hmm. It's an ugly position to be in. What the F? And in the end, just didn't get it done. That's the bottom line. Just didn't get it done.
Yeah, for me, the Spencer Burford missed block does it for me, and also the block field goal.
The extra point.
Yeah, the extra point.
Yeah, sorry, the extra point. That there's, we can all agree that there's just so many things, not so many things, but just like every little thing, the CMC fumble. I mean, if he doesn't fumble the ball, we probably would have punched it in the end zone.
They couldn't stop us.
Right.
He had no answers at that point.
If you just think about that
script was perfect.
It was.
Yep.
Completely dominating them on the line of scrimmage.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't do anything with us.
I mean, we gave them how many? Trent Williams with all the penalties. Like, what is that about? Like, big Trent
back and over again. Like, what is this?
So, exactly. We just kept hurting ourselves in that whole first half. Like, what is happening here? I didn't like it. I mean, when we went into halftime winning, I was like, okay, we're leading. Both sides are playing pretty sloppy ball. And maybe that's, just whatever. Nerves, pressure. Either we're doing something right or people have some nerves they're trying to shake out. But at halftime, I was like, okay, we have full command of this game, really. I mean, we're hurting ourselves. They weren't doing it to us. We were doing it to ourselves.
Exactly.
And so to come in the third quarter, I mean, admittedly, I didn't see a lot of it. Jess knows. I didn't see part of the third quarter. But what I saw was a continuation of that. Everything that was happening was because of our own stuff. The ball with Brandon Ayuk, was that overthrown? Did he not see it? Was it supposed to go somewhere else? Like, that missed touchdown there. Teeny tiny miscues, missing Debo once or twice. It's just like, we don't miss these plays ordinarily. And when we did, it's like, these are consequential. They're going to matter because you cannot give Patrick Mahomes 2 minutes in the fourth quarter or 2 minutes in overtime to do something. He's going to do something. And it's, I don't know.
Well, he's going to do something.
had 11 targets.
That's why it's on us to score touchdowns instead of kicking field goals.
Correct.
We needed touchdowns.
We did. But I will say, shout out to Jake Moody for making that initial kick, because that was like
5-yarder.
The longest field goal in Super Bowl history, and we're putting it in his hands, and he nailed it. And he nailed, the other ones. The blocked kick was. I'm like, you guys know he's a low kicker. Somebody get your hands up and like get on your guy. Don't let them get their hands up. You got to block. You got to be in there.
They can't let the line collapse a little. They got to block.
You got to be in there and hold that, because he will get his kicks blocked. So I was a little annoyed to see that he got something blocked. I was like, here we go. Like, why? You got to be in there the whole time. So, yeah.
Matt, you just hit on something big. The targets to Debo.
Yeah.
It's like they were forcing them in there, and they just weren't. It wasn't there. It was not there. So you have other guys who are not getting the ball, but when you're 3 for 11 on targets, like in a game for this offense, that is fast. That's 8 incompletions for. I can't remember how many total incompletions Brock Purdy had. But I'm going to guess 8 is probably like more than 50% of his incompletions, right? That's wild to me. That is absolutely insane. And it's not like I think Debo shut down or anything, but like, if he's that crucial to your offense, like how is Brandon Ayuk not getting more touches, right? Like how is George Kittle not getting more touches, right? Like, that was a clear mismatch in this game that people said, wow, tight end in this game. Kittle is just this great matchup for this. And they targeted him twice, and one time it got called back because of the Williams holding. What is happening? Why? What?
Well, so I was going to ask Jess about the one play where the ball came loose, and someone called George Kittle out. Like, if he didn't want to be, goofing with the other guy, he might have turned his head and saw that and got on the ball first. So I was going to ask you what you thought about that, because I did see that replay come up, and I was like, oh, I wonder how Jess feels about this.
Well, he was also about 5 or 10 yards back from the play.
Yes, you were.
So,
but he did get there. He got there like second to get to the ball. He was right on it, but he was kind of backwards, reaching behind himself. And people are like, if Kittle isn't trying to mouth off and like have some fun with that guy, who then took off with the ball, and that's when he turned around.
But then if CMC doesn't fumble, we're not even talking about it.
That's my thing.
Well,
people were talking more about George Kittle than CMC actually fumbling the ball.
Right.
Like, make it make sense.
That to me too is another problem. Like, at some point, get down. Just, you're in a sea of people. Get your knee down and be done with this run. Like, they're coming at you.
Yeah, you're not breaking loose of that. They're already handing on to your thing. But the other thing that got me on that play was, typically this team is really good about communicating if the ball is loose or there's something going on. But for some reason on that play, it was like everybody shut down except for McCaffrey and the guy who was tackling him. Then all of a sudden the ball comes loose, and then all of a sudden the play is active again. But everybody was kind of already on to the next play. Yeah. Like, and Kittle's back is turned to that. He doesn't hear that. I've heard those clips. I've heard that clip about 60 times. I have not heard anybody yell ball one friggin' time.
No.
So of course he's going to be like, "Hey George, how are you?" He thinks the play's over. Everybody thinks the play's over if you're not watching it, right? He's busy doing his job, the blocking thing, which apparently he does so well he can't get any targets. That's apparently how that works, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't hear any audio pieces. I only saw a couple of clips of it, but I saw it 3 times come up, and people are like, George Kittle doing George Kittle things, should have been paying attention. And I was like, oh, I wonder what Jess feels, how she feels about people slandering her man out here in the universe.
Yeah, it just I don't know. All that slandering is unnecessary.
I think Jess, like many of us, and us four in particular, because we've talked about it on this show, is more upset about the number of targets or the lack of targets that George Kittle received. We spoke about how on this show, how George Kittle should have a minimum of 5 dedicated targets a game. We're like, he's the number one guy. The ball's going there because he's a matchup nightmare and just happens to be the best tight end in the league. So why wouldn't you get him the football? To only have 3 throughout basically 5 quarters of football, that should never happen. Never.
And not to mention the Greenlaw injury was huge.
I saw that thing snap and was like,
that to me just kind of sums it up for this team, right?
Yeah.
And if you really want to go back to it, like the Easter eggs for this loss were implanted into the Cleveland game, right? You have the BS with the special teams. The defense just plays well enough to keep you in it, but when they're doing bend but don't break, they finally break at the end because they can only bend so much, right? Eventually it snaps. And the offense just couldn't quite get it going. Just couldn't quite get on track. Yet they still could have won it, right? Like they should have won it in regulation. It never should have gone to overtime. The clock should have been bled completely down, and that should have been it.
Yep.
Like, how have we not learned this lesson since Super Bowl 54, right? Like, the pull away from running on that drive was fascinating to me. And the pull away from, like, Purdy's almost running primarily out of shotgun now. There's not a lot of,
Pterodome.
Yes, she just flew back from Tokyo to be there with us.
Right. There's a Twitter app that actually follows Jess on flights.
Yeah, you can follow her. Follow her. It's public knowledge, her
right.
prodding.
Her new handle is J Swizzle.
From the Hizzle.
That's right.
You mean I'm not Barbara Walters anymore?
She's JJ.
Yes, AKA Barbara Walters. That's her pseudonym. That's what she checks into hotels under. Fun fact: I was in LA before I went to Vegas, and her mom calls her Barbara Walters for her, moderation of the show. And so I took a picture of Barbara Walters' star on the Walk of Fame. I was like, "Hey, look, I took this for you." I don't know. I reminded me of you for some reason.
There you go.
So yeah.
There we go, Tara. Every superhero has 2 IDs, Jess.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Can't be out there outing yourself all the time. You got to have that pseudo alter ego.
Is Kyle Shanahan to blame for this loss?
He's not the executioner of the plays. He's not. I thought he called a great game. I'm going to say it now.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that 100% because as Rebecca alluded to earlier, there were 3 plays put out there that should have been touchdowns.
Yep.
Clear, easy guys breaking wide open touchdowns.
Fumbles.
If we execute those cleanly, just those 3 plays,
game over.
The game is totally different.
Yep.
Yeah. Nope. Kyle had a great plan. I think the halftime score should have been very different than what it was.
Yep.
And if it were, they would have never come back from that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Patty, you're a little quiet.
I mean, I can't.
I thought you were frozen.
Disagree with any of that. No, not at all. Not at all. what can you say about it? Because every amateur moron is like, it's all Kyle's fault. Kyle this, Kyle that. Kyle started the plague, Kyle is responsible for locusts. Like everything. It's all Kyle's fault. But he coaches the team.
Can I hold on, Maddie?
Through, but...
Just Jason, there were quite a number of times where we were behind the chains.
Yeah. Penalties.
Right. So to go away from the run and to do what we needed to, like pass the ball, and it's sometimes you have to do that when you're behind the chains. Go ahead, Maddie.
Would I have liked to see him run the ball a little bit more in the fourth quarter? Sure.
Yeah. Sure.
Right. But at the end of the day, I also would have liked to see the offensive line make a block on third down in the fourth quarter, because that probably would have changed things, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
I mean,
just get a chip.
Well,
How about a chip for another second or two?
In the fourth quarter, that first series, was it the fourth quarter or overtime? Because I haven't rewatched the game, I still can't do it. But we passed, got the penalty, got the first down. And then we ran the ball. We ran CMC like 3 times. We ran the ball like 3 times. Jordan Mason, or who do we run? Mitchell, CMC. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't rewatched it, but we passed. And I was like, what are we doing? We got lucky with the penalty, but then we went straight back to the run and put it right down their throat, and moved it that way. So I heard people say that, but then that's not what I saw. We passed because they're expecting us to run. It's what we do on first down. And we didn't. We went the other way. And you're right, we almost gave it up, but we got the penalty, and then we went back to the run game. So I feel like he was trying to mix that up. I do think he was doing his best to not give away every run game.
Mm-hmm.
And I get that.
Yeah.
We have gone away from the run in big games, but we're with the Super Bowl, which is what we're talking about. He, when you're behind the chains,
you got to match with.
Throw the ball.
People aren't looking at it situationally.
Yeah.
They just want to see run the ball. It doesn't matter that they have 9 in the box, that they're daring us to throw.
Right.
We have Debo, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, and CMC, 4 outstanding weapons in the passing game that can beat one-on-one matchups. Plus, we have Brock Purdy. All season long, people have been saying he's the best quarterback in the league. He's elite. He's an MVP candidate. What's wrong with putting the ball in this young man's hands when he has performed outstandingly all season long? What's wrong with it? Exceeded all expectations. What's wrong with that? And we didn't put it in his hands exclusively. Rebecca, like you said, the run was mixed in.
Yeah.
It wasn't just run. Kyle did run it twice in a row here.
Yeah.
Okay, now we need to pass. Okay, let's go back to it. Let's run it twice in a row here. So it wasn't just all throw.
Exactly. And even like just what we were standing next to each other, and Debo had that one that went like right past his hands. And I was like, run it again. And what did they do? They turned around, they ran it right back, did the same play to Debo all over again. And it was a first down. So like, you saw the run plays, you saw some of these things, but it's always, you got to mix it up. They're going to be looking at what you rely on, and they're going to try and shut that down. George Kittle, they're going to try to shut down Christian McCaffrey, but good luck. He's an unusual human. So I don't know. I felt like they knew what we did well. They tried to stop what we did well. We exceeded in all of those places, except we just kept hurting ourselves in penalties and that sort of fumbles, drop balls, those kind of things. Really what killed us. And then, the defense. I mean, Diamador, Lenore, and Ward had everybody on lock. There was hardly anything. He danced around in that pocket, and how many sacks did we get on him? Because my God, I felt like that was the most sacks that he ever took in his life. I don't know if that was a record, but we had him. We had everything he was trying to do downfield pretty much locked down for most of that game. And I was like, wow. And I kind of feel bad for Steve Wilkes because I felt like what we did in the long game for that Super Bowl was pretty good. I thought he did a great job. So I feel like he's the scapegoat for losing, just for the overtime thing that happened. But I don't know, fourth quarter overtime. But I don't know. I liked what I saw for most of the game. I really did.
I don't think Steve Wilkes was a scapegoat. I think this was his firing was coming. I think that even if we won the game, I think he still would have been out.
I don't disagree because I think that the defense declined from midway through all the way to the end of the year.
Cleveland and Minnesota. Those two games, I don't know what happened in those two games.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand what the significance was. Specifically the Minnesota game with the zero blitz right before the end of the first half that really...
Name another defensive play that game that was bad. Can't do it,
There's something about the... No. It's not...
It's like
everybody points
my
out
turn
one
to be
thing.
devil's advocate tonight.
I'm not pointing to that thing, but it seemed like during that was the first. That's your first play that you can go to, but you can go to both of those games and look at those as losses. And that was the first time, for whatever reason, that was when everybody had problems with, Steve Wilkes has to be from the booth, right? I'm not saying that's right. I'm saying the perception, for whatever reason, got into their heads during one of those two games. Now, whether it was that play or another one, I think it carried through to the whole year. And then the running game issues that happened in the first two playoff games, it's just, I feel like they were almost looking for a reason to do it. You know what I mean? Like, and those were really just the kind of the bookend reasons. Like,
let's keep it real. Whether it's just scapegoated a bit. And it's been happening all season. Like that Cleveland game, Minnesota game, and even the Cincinnati game after. Everyone pointed the finger at him. Well, even though in the fourth quarter they were making stops, giving the ball back to the offense, doing what they had to do. Everybody forgets that during that Cleveland game, there was an interception and the ball was taken down to the 25. What happened on that drive? The offense went backwards.
Yep.
But everyone blamed the defense. So let's. That's actually a really good point, and that kind of steps it back here real quick.
I was just going to say. Also, I want to just point out: do we think because we kept changing coordinators that the first half of the season we kept what we had, and then we let him start to make adjustments, and we start to see this change and this decline in the production on the field too? I mean, we're talking about the third defensive coordinator in 3 years, and now we're going to have another one. And so these guys are constantly being forced to adjust. And I don't think they had a big adjustment between Saleh and D'Amico, but to bring an outsider in and have him want to come in, I think they maintained the status quo for a while. And then Steve Wilkes got to start to input his touch on things. And that's when we saw the drop off. That's my theory, is when he got to actually put his touch on it, we start to see the Titanic sink, that we start to take on water, start listing a little bit, and the defense changed, and it was never quite the same as it was on the front end of the season. And I don't know, that's my take on it, my theory.
Tell him, Terradome.
I think what I was trying to go back to, though, is our expectation. My expectation for this team is that they have the number one defense in the NFL. And they're clearly not that right now. They're not the number one defense in the NFL. Is he really being scapegoated for high expectations?
Could be.
Because at the end of the day, like, there's a lot of money spent on that. Like, regardless of the injury situation to Eric Armstead, regardless of the injury situation with Javon Hargrave and everything else, right? The Cleveland Farrell injury and the Talanoa Hufanga injury were the two biggest injuries of the year, right? Like, even Drake Greenlaw in the Super Bowl, that sucked and everything. But those two injuries specifically really changed this defense and what it was capable of. And you really saw that kind of come to a head. And if you look at numbers from when Hufanga went out to what happened, there was a lot of different things here. I think that's what he fell kind of victim to. Whether it's scapegoating for that one game, whether it was just over the top, whether it was players. I very rarely ever see the players throw the coaches under the bus, but there were specific situations where the reactions of the players were like, I don't know, surprised. Like they didn't really hide the fact that they didn't feel prepared for whatever reason. And it surprised me to see that come out like that.
Yeah.
It was multiple. It just seemed weird to have that happen. So whatever it was, they decided to make a change. It's Kyle's program, and hopefully he's going to plan to get this defense to reach its ceiling. At the end of the day, I don't care who coordinates this defense as long as it reaches the ceiling. And to me, the ceiling of this defense is the number one defense in the NFL, and they got to get there. And right now, they're not.
Right.
So check this out.
There.
Check this out. In 2019, our other Super Bowl year, the 49ers ranked 8th in league defense in points for, 2nd in total yards. So 8-2. This season, they ranked 3rd in points for and 8th in yards. So we gave up less points, but more yards this year. Neither was ranked number 1 overall. It's kind of a wash. So what happened?
It is.
Why is this big discrepancy? Why are we so much worse?
We're giving up points when we're giving up yards.
We gave up less points this year, like
In
points for.
in the games that matter, we gave up the points.
Which ones?
That's what it always felt like. I mean, do you ever feel comfortable on 3rd and long with this team anymore?
I haven't felt comfortable on 3rd and long with this team since 2017. And
they've done a much better. I thought they did a better job this year of eliminating some of the long bomb plays. Outside of the one in the first half that they get away with, which they made up for with the turnovers. But it seemed to me like this defense just kind of moved away from being like a pass rushing, I'm going to kick your ass and punch you in the face sort of defense, to more of a like bend but don't break. We know you're going to get that completion, but we're going to hit the hell out of you so that when you get tackled, you're not going to go anywhere and you're not going to get any yards after catch on us. And it just seemed like there were specific stretches this year against weird, like PJ Walker at one point got hot, right? Like, which is weird. The Joe Burrow game, which somebody pointed out to us, like there were times this year that this defense just did not look like what you expected it to look for. So like I said, I think it's more of like an expectation thing. As you said, the 8th and 3rd, 3rd and 8th, right? Yards, points, or whatever the ratio is. Like at the end of the day, I feel like you need top 5 in both or top 3 in both. Especially when you're going to be going up against quarterbacks. When you make it to the Super Bowl, you're going to be running into a quarterback like Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow, right? One of those 3 guys, or Lamar Jackson, which, fun fact, apparently we couldn't cover him on Christmas. That's just
not with all the tape and wrapping
right?
paper in the world.
It's just for some reason they can't get over the hump in the big games, and whatever it is. You could look at it as though if like the offense would do the job and kind of finish some things off, the defense wouldn't have to go out there for an extra couple of rounds, right? You could see that.
But the offense didn't.
Different scenarios this year. Exactly. And they didn't. So is it the offense's fault that the defense got exposed too many times? Like they just got run out there too many times? Like a starting pitcher that goes through the rotation one extra time when they shouldn't? Like, is that the offense's fault? At the end of the day, I don't care whose fault it is. I just want that 6th Lombardi trophy before I die, and I feel like it's farther away than ever at this point. Right? That's where it's at on this whole thing. Like, so if they think they need to do something to upgrade this defense, then go ahead and do it. You think you need to do something to upgrade this offense? Go ahead and do it. There's no salary cap on coaches. Bring the smartest head coaches that you could possibly bring in here to help Kyle get this friggin' thing over the hump. Because I'm so tired of the amateur quarterbacks going, It's Costa.
So Maddie, on that note, what do you think about Belichick as defensive coordinator?
I would love it. I would love it. I would love it so much. Like, bring in all the dark side energy that you possibly can. Right? Him, Vrabel, Pete Carroll. Fun fact. Pete Carroll, the godfather
Also, yeah,
of
I know
the Seattle defense, right, that we're running.
Sleeping with the enemy.
He had two of the highest rated 49er defenses of all time in 1995 and 1996 when he was the defensive coordinator for that team.
That was a long ass time ago.
It was a long ass time ago, right?
A lot of gum has been chewed since then. Come on, guys.
At the end of the day, though, this is what I'm going to tell you. If you are getting rid of Steve Wilkes right after the Super Bowl, then you better upgrade.
Right.
Like you have to hit home run. I don't care.
Let's not go in-house.
Yeah.
You can't promote from within and expect to have success next year. We're going to fall flat on our face if that's what we do.
And you know what's absolutely amazing about this whole thing is the fact that I have seen 4 different people who all have varying sources of whatever you want to believe, and all of them say different things. It's likely to be in-house. It's likely to be Brandon Staley. Nobody really knows.
The Chargers, right? and this one and that
nobody,
one. Right?
Yeah, nobody really knows, right? Nobody really knows. But they did offer this job. They did offer a job to Mike Vrabel in 2016. He was going to take it. Texans gave him a promotion instead, so he stayed with Houston. He's been a successful defensive coordinator before. I feel like Kyle wants somebody on the defense that he can just be like, go run that defense, right? But you've heard Gus Bradley from Indianapolis, right? You've heard all these people. Whoever it is, I don't care who it is, you got to get it right. This is you've got to get this right.
It's the key cog that we really have to plug that mega gap right now. And I don't think
when it comes to coaching,
we lost a bunch of our D-line coaches too already. So we don't even really have a good pool to promote. So we're gonna have to go from outside and pull someone in.
I think by Friday we know who the DC will be.
I actually think if it's somebody good, we're gonna hear about it tomorrow. If it's an internal hire, you're gonna hear about it Friday afternoon.
Yeah. I mean, I so Ty is the dissenting voice. What is please provide your position paper, Supreme Court Justice, Mr. Alston. Why are you dissenting?
Matt just said he wants a number 1 defense. Bill Belichick hasn't had a number 1 defense since they took his Spygate tapes.
Well, that is the criticism.
Small reminder, they took those tapes away again in 2019, so it wasn't that far away. But everyone here hates the Cowboys. We got to beat the Cowboys. We got to destroy the Cowboys. We got to shut them down. Bill Belichick this year gave up 38 points to the Cowboys. If you people were upset that we gave up 19 points to Cleveland and 22 points to Minnesota, imagine how you feel giving up 38 points to the Dallas Cowboys. 49er fans would lose their minds. And for the Pete Carroll crew, he gave up 41 points to the Cowboys. So go ahead. Sign these old ass coaches that can't beat the Cowboys. Go ahead. Have fun with that. But when we play Dallas next season, remember what you asked for.
Who do you want?
Well, it's going to be me.
Oh, I'm
breaking the news right here.
Oh, well,
you don't have to speculate.
Ladies and gentlemen, hold the
throwing my hat in. Why do you think I flew out to Santa Clara so much this year? I was working it.
If anybody works, I don't know. Jess put in some miles and some hours.
I'm blitzing on Jess is already the assistant head coach to the head coach.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
She's got a title. She's got an office in there.
Yeah.
A big title.
If she did, her
pictures on the wall.
Things would be a little better, honestly. I do. Yeah. I think if Jess was running quality control, shit would actually be done right. I don't know why.
Thank you.
Barbara
I
Walters
feel like
right here.
I feel like
at your
100% shit would just be buttoned up and done properly. So everyone would know the damned overtime rules, right? Like
Lord
everybody,
have
like there would
mercy.
be handouts, there would be PowerPoints. Like I feel like everybody would understand like the whole the whole thing, right? At the end of the day. So
Why is that overtime rule thing so overblown?
oh God, because there's nothing else to talk about.
To talk about.
There
Right?
you go.
You have
There you
to
go.
analyze whatever comes out of
There
the
you
game,
go.
and that happens to be something. We beg these players to say something, right? We beg these players to say something in these press conferences. Please be honest. Please be honest. Please be honest. And then they're honest, and then we spend 2 weeks being like, "Oh Jesus, they're so stupid. How do they not know the overtime rule?" Like, do you want them to be honest, or do you want them to be like, "Oh yeah, of course I knew the overtime rule, schmucky."
Let me
Like
just
they
tell
didn't
you,
like. Figure it out.
if that were if one of my players went out and said they didn't know the overtime rules, they would be in total timeout. Somebody is not getting the ball because this is what you do for a living. This is your profession. Do not tell me you do not know the rules of engagement for your job. Stop it right now. I was like, that is some BS if I ever heard it.
See,
This is your job, your livelihood. You don't know what you're supposed to do, where to find the information. You're going into the biggest game of your life.
See, to me, they knew the general rules, but the specifics as it pertains to the playoffs is the difference.
Ty,
it's not that cheap
job.
stuff, but no matter, their job, but honestly, their job, regardless of the rules, doesn't change. On offense, they still need to go down and score points.
Well, they do.
On defense, you still got to stop the other team. So I don't care if it's the first quarter or overtime.
Right.
That's your job.
But no, you need to know how to manage the clock.
Is that the player? Is that the player's thing?
Yeah,
to manage the clock, or the coach?
You need to know when to step out of bounds and when to keep the ball in bounds and keep the clock. Yes, you do. 100%.
But the coach is supposed to read like, hey,
boy,
be smart.
I'm telling you right now, if you played professional football, you're telling me before you go to the Super Bowl, you're not going to know the overtime rules in case it goes there? That's arrogance. If not, that is flat out. You are full of yourself and you're arrogant. And that is why you lose a football game, because you think you're going to win and you're not going to be prepared for all the situations. That's BS. Then if that's the way they went into that game, they deserve to lose. I'm sorry. That's shitty attitude to go into the biggest game of your life. If you're going to say, it's not my job to know these rules. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. That is your job.
Like I said,
you do it every day.
They knew the rules, just not the fine points. And let's keep it real. 99% of America didn't know the fine points of the overtime rules.
Well, because 99% of America,
including the Kelsey brothers, who are like, I can't believe they took the ball first.
They go
get it. The Kelsey brothers didn't even know them.
It's smart to take the ball first, ladies and gentlemen.
Most of the people watching the Super Bowl, they watch one game a year and go, oh, so why did they get the ball again? Yeah, watch the Super Bowl with people, because then you know who knows football and doesn't and follows it. Then it's very clear who understands it. But the players on the field who do this for a living better damn well know those rules. I'm sorry, that's 100%. On team, know the rules of your profession. In my world, I go to prison. So, like I know the rules of engagement. I'm not going to be like, oh, I didn't know. Yeah, I don't buy it. I'm going to cry my rally towel.
All right. As far as moving forward, off of the Super Bowl, two things in my mind need to change, and that's both sides of the ball on the line. The offensive line, the defensive line. The offensive line, particularly the right side, and the defensive line, we need an upgrade. In the middle, on the end, I know Eric Armstead played with torn meniscus. But those two for me, I mean, if we're going to get over the hump, not to mention, obviously we need a defensive coordinator who's really going to bring us back to where we need to be. But if we're going to get over the hump, we need both sides, like in the trenches, to be upgraded for sure. What do you guys think?
Sorry to burst out laughing on you, Jess. I read Terradome's quote comment and then read Jason's, and it's beautiful. That's beautiful commentary. They just cracked me up. It just cracked me up. It's just so dead on. Oh my gosh. Love the chat. Oh man. I'm in agreement with you. It's clearly, the trenches need to be resolved. I mean, if you look at it ultimately, that's the reason why we came up short, especially on offensive line. It's the thing everybody worries about going into the season. It's the biggest concern always, right? What's going on with the O-line, especially the right side. And once again, it reared its ugly head. Once again, the defensive line not getting that pressure late in the game, and especially from the right side. I mean, Chase Young was flashed early in the game, and
he was doing it.
Randy Gregory, but then late in the game, it's like, where were they? While Bosa's getting bear hugged, we need somebody else to come through, right? Mm-hmm. Like, where are these guys? So yeah, I'm with you. And John Lynch is going to get an edge rusher somewhere. It's just what he does. Don't be surprised if that first pick is an edge rusher.
Daniil Hunter.
Yes. Yep.
Put
Brian Burns.
Oh, we're signing every
boy. We're just signing everybody. It's the 30th anniversary of the '94 team, right? At the end of the day, if that's what it took to win in '94, let's go. Let's take every penny, roll it over. Let's look under the mattresses. Let's go.
Especially if he's a cheap, if he's a bargain. No, Terradome, that's funny.
Mm-hmm. Him and Jason are on a roll right now. But yeah, man, oh man, just a few plays, Jesus.
Yeah,
but yes,
my thoughts exactly.
But yes, Jess, the trenches, the line, that's priority number one. I don't want to hear crap about a cornerback. Leave me alone. I don't want to hear crap. We need a linebacker. Nope. Leave me alone with that. We need O-line.
If Ezel Shire ends up back here, I'm not going to sit down and cry crocodile tears.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. But
yeah, there's a whole list of that and people debating who's coming back or who we should bring back, or should we get Joey Bosa? If that's, it's like, oh my God, we got to let this play out a little bit. I don't know.
I know the Bosa thing popped up. Well, announcers have been saying we've had Joey Bosa on the team for years.
They said it in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
They said it in you're darn right. He said it in the Super Bowl. And I was I was
like, newsflash, get your stories straight over there, whatever. Who said it? Tony Romo called him Joey.
Yeah,
probably. Yeah,
I believe it was him.
Yeah, I was like, come on, man.
The one thing that still kind of bothers me, and I heard it today from Bucky Brooks. He was talking about BA, and he was saying Ayuk.
He's not yuck.
I can't.
Yeah.
Yuck to him for saying yuck.
Yeah, and he just he kept saying it too. Like
that's the thing. They repeat it. Like they don't catch themselves.
At least like 7 times. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Come here. You got some on your face.
I know, right? you had some yuck on there. That's why I
got the ick now because you said that 7 times. Right. I got the ick. I'm out.
So if Joey Bosa is released, you guys don't think that we should pick him up?
Well, it depends on what the price tag is because he's going to spend at least half of his time on the injured list. So, like, if you're going to do something like that, so
You know
be
what?
it.
But we could have said the same thing about Christian McCaffrey when we got him.
Right.
Very true.
And then what
Yeah,
happened?
you could have, but like Christian McCaffrey's injuries were kind of freak. Bosa's have kind of been like on point, muscle. Like, I don't know. I got a bad feeling about it. Would it be great? Sure, but you can't tie up the entire defense. You got to get mutters in there, right? You got to get guys that are going to go in there and take up space and get in the quarterback space up the middle and force things out. I don't.
Do you think he would take a pay cut though? Do you think he would? He would because I know.
Well, I mean, he's getting cut anyway. Like I
I'd love to be
can't
on that team.
imagine. I don't think I've ever seen a Bosa take a pay cut, right? And that's
Well,
not
no, but
a
I
knock on
mean,
them. Like they want what they're worth, and like
Well-
I don't know if the 49ers have available to pay him what he would be worth. So if
Mm-hmm.
the market settles to that point, and he's like, you know what, I could play with my brother for a year, maybe win a Super Bowl,
couple.
like maybe,
Yeah.
right? But again, the market's gonna have to shift a little bit, right? Like things are gonna have to kind of settle that way. So that might not happen right away. Like I don't see us going after Brian Burns as much as I would love it. It would be generational, change the defense completely, but
Yeah.
at the cost of what? You can't trade Debo because there's absolutely no cap savings for it.
Yeah.
And you got to do something with Brandon. You got to do something with Brandon Ayuk, man.
Yeah,
You have
exactly.
to. You have to do something. Like there's no other choice. Yeah, Joey sees he's going to take that JJ Watt path to Arizona. I could see him doing that, right? I could totally.
Yeah,
Totally
Tara
see
says
that.
that in the chat
I
too.
could totally see that. That's their jam. That's Chandler Jones, Joey Bosa, JJ Watt. Do you see a pattern here? They have a type, okay? They have a type. Like there's
The sunset. They're the Kansas City Chiefs for 49er quarterbacks, and
whatever they can, whatever they can do to get the like aging edge rusher in, they're gonna do it.
I don't. That one to me was a bit of a crapshoot because I just felt like you too. He's going to be worth a lot of money, and we've got to fortify the lines. And I don't know if it works out and he's willing to negotiate and whatever, then great, fine, bring him in.
Maybe we get Nick to restructure some of his contracts so we can throw some money his brother's way and they can play together. You know, it's all part of the negotiation. What number Joey's looking for, and can we work this thing out? But you never know.
When I met Cheryl, Nick's rookie year, they were gushing about all the things the Niners do for the players, the services, the different things that other teams don't, because she had him on the Chargers and other parents had other kids on other teams. They couldn't say enough about what the 49ers do. So I don't think there would be any hesitation about him coming over to the team and support from the family for that. But at what cost? You're absolutely right, Matt. What's the number that's gonna make that magic happen? But yeah, I don't see there being any resistance to it by any means. And in the family, they love what the Niners do as a organization for the players.
You never know. Maybe playing on some grass would help Joey out.
Oh, that's a good point
Very
too.
well could, right?
Very good.
Look,
point.
maybe this is a 1 year prove it year for him, right? Like he kind of comes in, he gets cut, and he comes in, he plays bookend with his brother, gets everything going, and then he gets a deal to go to Houston, right? Or some other sort of. Yeah, like one of those.
We know how these guys come in with these 1 year deals,
right?
Mm-hmm.
The bookends, the Bosa bookends.
So Samson Ebicom worked out for him, right? It worked out for Charles Omenihu. Like they come in, they get their 1 year deal, and then all of a sudden the next year, boom, they're making bank. Yep. Cleveland Farrell would have if he hadn't gotten injured. He's on that path.
Yeah, he was on that same.
I like him. I hope that we get him back.
Huge miss.
It was. I didn't like to see him go either. I thought that was like,
Are we trading BA?
It's the dumbest thing ever if we do. I feel like
No.
he's been a key thing in our offense. So I'm going to say no, we find a way to keep him.
Well, if we're not going to give
No.
him the ball, what's the point? Might as well send him somewhere and get something for him if you're not going to give him the damn ball.
Yeah, but you know what?
Well,
Sorry, did I say that out loud? I'm so
It's
annoyed with that.
easy. It's
Sorry,
easy to
I'm so
say that
bitter.
we could. It's easy to say that we could trade him, but to play in this offense, to find another receiver that we could just plug in.
Let's do it.
Yeah, that doesn't work like that.
bingo.
That's the hard
Not
part.
easy.
I do think
He's worth
he's
more
got
to
his
us than he is
teeth.
to anyone else.
He's cut
Right.
his teeth in this offense. He's going to be hard to replace.
Yeah. Just think how much that time they invested in building him up,
Developing,
coaching
right?
him up, right? Kyle personally talking to him,
Yes.
trying
Mhm.
to get him to elevate his game, elevate his training, elevate his practicing to be
Second
where it
team
is.
Pro.
Giddy when he was drafted. He was giddy over on
Not Pro Bowl, second team All Pro. Like that actually
Mhm.
matters, right?
Mhm.
Like that's a thing. Like that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And since we started this show, we've talked about how he's just always open.
Yep.
You can't guard this kid on most days, like unless you double team him. And even then, we saw in the Cardinals game earlier in the season at San Francisco, they double teamed him and he was still getting open.
And he makes the impossible catches too. You could throw it to the dirt and he's diving down and making these catches. And they are clear and crisp and legit catches. Like you can throw that ball to this kid anywhere you want, and he's gonna give you every effort to catch that ball. And 99%
Great
of the
one.
time he's got it. So hard to
Great
replace.
1765 has a comment here that says Ayuk can't get 10 targets a game when we have so many other weapons. So why is Deebo Samuel getting 11 targets when it's clearly not working? That's where it could scatter somewhere else is what I'm saying, right? Like I would sometimes rather force it to BA than to Deebo is really what I'm saying. So like,
And we do.
We've talked about
this.
little teeny tiny windows.
We've talked about this before. Sometimes Kyle gets his game plan and he doesn't alter from it.
Mhm.
And the ball is supposed to go to this guy, it's going to go to that guy, even though the next guy they can't guard him,
flagging him down.
Game plan. So and he's got to switch it up.
why is there no corn dog for BA? Why is there no corn dog play? Right? Like what Kansas City ran or whatever that was, like whatever variation of corn dog that was from the year before. They have all these neat plays to get these scrub ass players like Kadarius Toney and friggin' Mecole Hardman open, and our genius ass head coach cannot figure out a play to get Brandon Ayuk open. I find that hard to friggin' believe, is what I'm saying. Right? That's really what it boils down to for me. Kittle too.
Don't have to like design a play to get him open. He can just go get
He
open.
just does it. I
Like,
mean,
he will
but,
beat
you know,
this man.
PA was open and the ball was overthrown, or it was a miscue on where the ball was going to be for that touchdown pass. So, you know, and there's times where BA is like, hi.
Think of our
It's the
last
ladybug's
offensive
fault.
play of the game. Ugh.
Mhm.
Can't blame the Ladybug.
Ladybug's fault.
She didn't come to Vegas, did she? She should have made the flight.
Mm-mm.
What's up, Sin?
What's up, Sin?
Sam.
Shout out to everybody in the chat. You guys are awesome.
Indeed.
Don't
On
forget to
fire.
like, subscribe if you haven't already. I'd like to see us bring back Juwan Jennings.
Oh, 100%.
For
I like
sure.
JJ.
I think it'll happen. A lot of people look at the thing that he had for the Super Bowl and be like, "Oh, there's going to be a big signing." He was the third receiver on this team, and a lot of teams are going to look at that, and they're going to be like, "Do I really want to give him this much money when I can just draft somebody in the draft?" Wide receivers are slowly starting to become like running backs right before our eyes. The only reason we're not seeing it is because the higher end wide receivers are getting paid a lot more than the higher end running backs. At the end of the day, a lot of these receivers aren't getting to the open market without their extended deal, like getting matched or whatever. So I think he will be back this year, unless somebody really goes hog wild, like a Houston or maybe the Jets or somebody like that. Probably not the Jets. The Jets aren't really running any sort of offense that we run.
No.
Houston more so, probably. That's the team I worry about fucking our players. Houston, Miami. No. They no. I felt like Kombucha Girl there. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. So yeah, I think he comes back.
I'm hoping. My hope is that a lot like these analysts and stuff we've seen on TV, they haven't actually watched 49ers games this season, and they just look at him on paper and go, "Oh, he only had 20 plus catches and a few touchdowns. He's not that good," and just ignore him.
Yes,
but we know how good he is and how valuable he is to us.
Yeah,
and we talked about this during the season when he was out for that stretch. At the end of the season, we said how one thing this offense is missing is Juwan Jennings. Right? Because I think it was Sin who put in there, we need third and Juwan. Well, he's developed into more than just third and Juwan. He's also first and second in Juwan on a lot of plays, right? He
it's been fun to watch that, right? The development.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're expecting he's out on the field, but you think the ball's going to go to Debo or Brandon or someone else, and it's going to Juwan, and he's making the plays. He is just so good, and it's been really, really. I love him. I mean, every time the ball goes his way, I'm like, yes, Juwan Jennings. He just doesn't. He doesn't fail.
Even his blocking, along with BA. I mean, do you guys think that if we don't have them, let's say we don't have George, we don't, you look at the right side of our line, right?
Oh my
we don't have George, we don't have BA.
Nightmare.
We don't have JJ. What happens to CMC then and his production?
He's not offensive player of the year.
He's definitely not.
You just made a big light bulb go off for me, because I've been seeing, of course, on the socials how everybody's like, trade George and trade BA and don't re-sign Juwan, get somebody else with some speed or blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, you want us to run the ball, but you want us to get rid of our three best run blockers on the outside.
Right.
Make it make sense. Nah.
The way that this offense buys into blocking is special, and you can hear it if you really pay attention and you listen and watch. Everybody does it, and it's unique. You don't get that everywhere, and you get somebody like George who loves it. You can't get rid of that. You're not. It's hard to replace. To get guys in who want to really go lay it all out there. He does, and he has a fantastic time. He's taken on some of the best defensive guys in the league.
He's taking on defensive linemen.
And tore their ass up. So like really go pay attention to who he's blocking and what he's doing when he's on the field. He's neutralizing some of the biggest threats that teams have, and you can't replace that easily. So the trade George talk is, I don't know who said it, but stop it right now.
A lot of people have said it.
Yeah. One more thing about Jennings real quick. And Rebecca mentioned it, the plays he makes, not just the blocking, the plays he makes, in the passing game. We've seen where he's the number one target on a lot of passing plays, right? The ball's going to him. So imagine that pressure. All right, I got to get open. I got to make sure I catch this ball. And then after the catch, I got to make something happen. Because we've seen a lot of times where the throw has been short of the sticks.
Yep.
And he's making a play, getting open, making a catch, and then making people miss to convert a first down. I mean, that Thanksgiving in Seattle,
yeah,
he broke a tackle of three different guys and got a first down. That's huge. And he's been doing that all season long. So
I'll say that's all of our
definitely-
guys. All of our guys go for
Yeah.
the entire. They will carry the entire team. And, you know, to our detriment, as we saw in the Super Bowl with McCaffrey, like never giving up on a play, but at some point, just get down. You know, but yeah,
Brian, I think we do pay BA and Jennings. You know, the best way for us is, you know, obviously BA is going to be on his 5th-year option, but that's $14 million. So the best thing for us would be to extend him.
and you drop that salary.
Exactly.
You drop that. You could go from 14 to 8
Right.
like that if
Yeah,
we
right.
extend them,
Right.
and that
And
helps.
Jennings-
us out.
It's 14-1 like that too, which I
Yeah,
would
you could
like
go
to
to
see.
you can go to 1. You can make the numbers happen.
yeah.
Very true.
That's very true.
1994 throwback. Let's go. Let's make it happen. Let's just go all the way in. Let's go full Carmen
Mhm.
policy, baby.
That Carmen policy in the house.
And yes, the offense ain't the same without Kittle. That's for sure.
No, of course not.
Got to get more than
Can
3
I
targets.
make a suggestion as well?
Sure.
Until we win a Super Bowl, let's put the friggin' boombox in mothballs, okay? Like, you've not won anything at this point, so let's calm the hell down, okay? And let's get out there and, like, win a game. And then you can bring it back out, right? And then you can decorate it with Lombardi trophy. But until then, get rid of that.
I
Be done.
disagree.
Be done with it.
I disagree.
I object.
No.
I object.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
It's the
I'm
hype
cranky old
wagon.
man on that one.
It gets them riled up. Stop
and
it.
Quest
It's
for
the fan,
six.
you
Ever
know, it
since
gets us
somebody
going.
came-
It
ever
gets
since
them
Quest-
hyped up to play.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a tone setter.
So hyped.
Yeah,
Pre-game.
it's fun.
That's right. Let's stop having fun, right?
Yeah, like it's
Get
fun.
off
It's-
NFL, no fun
line.
league.
It's already right. It's already the no fun league. I mean, come on now. You
I'm
take
telling
that
you, you
away
can
from
have
them?
fun
Why
when you're
not?
in
You
it.
You know,
take that
you know
away.
what I would like to go away and never come back? The whole quest for 6 thing.
Yeah, no, ban that.
That stain.
think,
That stain's got to
honestly,
go.
If we just got like a whole bunch of Quest for 6 merchandise, put it in the middle of like a Sage thing and just burned all of it, I think maybe the special teams would stop fumbling the ball in key situations of big games. What do
I
you
might
think?
have a rally towel hanging on my wall because
I'm telling you, that whole Quest for 6
every
thing,
rally
of it.
towel
I don't
I have,
know.
I have them hanging.
Whoever came up with that, like,
I'm gonna look for it, and I will burn it in a pit.
rocket
with
into the sun.
sage, and we'll put that in necklaces. We'll put that.
Yep.
We'll be wearing 2 necklaces next year.
Yeah.
Howard O. Sam was around for things. He's fine. The Gold Rush was fine. I don't think there's enough of the San Francisco gay men's choir at the games, quite frankly. Like, let's bring them back. Let's go. The Barbershop
Yeah.
Quartet guys, they friggin' rock. Let's go. Like, why
You
the hell
know,
aren't they here?
You're not
Where'd they
wrong. But
go?
I will add that Jim Harbaugh is coming back to the NFL, so the Quest for 6 thing has to go. That was his.
It does, and so,
gotta
you
go.
know, and some people still use the phrase like "Who's got it better than us?" Like that's
Right.
not us
Oh.
either.
No,
I
we're,
just wanna
we're
leave
not
it.
those guys anymore.
Let's go away from that too.
Yep. Take all the
Yeah.
hardball sayings
Done.
and stop it right now. We're not doing those things anymore.
Stop it right now.
He finished.
Right.
All of it.
None
You
of
cut that out. You
All
cut
of
that
it.
out.
Stop it
Cut
right,
that out
now.
right now.
Stop it now.
Don't
Stop
make
it
me
right
cry in my rally towel again tonight.
All right, guys. Anything else before we go to that 2-minute warning? Everyone's been awesome tonight. You guys, the chat. You know,
Fact.
keep it here
Fact, baby.
every Wednesday during the off season. You know, we'll talk about, you know, the latest news, the latest rumors, anything you guys want to talk about. We'll touch on that. We're bringing it all for you guys this off season. Anything else, guys?
Yes, Bryant, we can still be
You can still be faithful. That's
Okay,
new.
fine.
That's not a Jim Harbaugh thing.
But here's the other thing. Let's just stop being faithful to the Bay. Like, it's more than just the Bay, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's 49ers fans friggin' everywhere.
Every
and it's
freaking
But I
pretty
like
year.
the
weird.
faithful to the Bay
Everywhere.
thing.
Yeah, but we're not in the Bay, right?
Doesn't
We're
matter.
not
I like
there.
it.
We
I
I-
like it.
Fine. I
I like
think it
it.
needs to be. faithful period, like the whole thing. Like that's
You can do it for a
You've
49er base.
exceeded your limit of things that you don't like, Maddie.
No,
You've hit your quota.
I want to hit all the it's like that game, and like you got to swap the prices and like make sure you get them right. Like you get that one time, and then you go back and hit the handle. That's where I'm at this point. Like that's what it boils down to.
All right, let's go to that hurry up offense and the 2-minute warning.
1, 2, 3, go.
Go ahead, Becca.
Well, as you can see, my man is hanging in the background. Hall of Famer. I already booked my hotel room and paid my deposit, and shook the candlestick dirt that I get these tickets because, baby, I'm going to be there. I'll be freaking breaking in if I have to watch my man get inducted into the Hall of Fame. The Super Bowl, obviously, we've already worked that to death. Go Niners. We'll be back next year. Everyone's got to regroup, whatever over the summer, and we'll be here, and we'll get over it at some point.
Yeah, Maddie.
I'm really glad that Sports Illustrated's not a thing anymore, so I don't have to see those stupid commercials about, hey, Chiefs fans, I'm really glad that's not like a thing anymore, only because of that, for that reason. Most pivotal off season in recent history, like this is huge. 30th anniversary, the last Super Bowl win. This is a wild, wild year that's upcoming. 11 draft picks, all sorts of free agency decisions. Oh yeah, we don't know who the defensive coordinator is yet. Like, stay tuned, because this drama show never effing stops. It just doesn't stop.
Yeah, I'll piggyback off of that, because I was going to say we are 8, 9, 10 days removed from the Super Bowl. Just 10. And look at the rumors and crap that's been flying around, folks. If you thought the rumors and such in years past was crazy, this year is shaping up to be just a doozy. So maintain some level of sanity and block it out and use your head. Let's go faithful.
Yeah. Shout out to everybody in the chat again. You guys were great tonight. It's going to be a long off season. Luckily we played well into the season, so just under a month away from free agency. And then we have the draft and a lot of fun things, and hopefully we'll have some cool people on here going forward besides ourselves.
Wait, we're not cool people?
I mean, we're
breaking news. How did that happen?
Man, listen,
Barbara, I thought we were great.
Anyway, as always, go Niners. Stay faithful, guys. And, go ahead, Maddie.
Oh, I was finishing it up. I wasn't sure.
There you go.
Bang, bang. That's it.
That's
there
right.
we go. That's a wrap.
Well, we can keep the bang, bang. We get to keep bang, bang.
Yeah, we're not
keep
getting
bang,
rid of that. That's been around since the beginning, right? Like, and I pretty much look like a real life sourdough Sam at this point. Like, my hair is kind of longer. Like, I got the ridiculous beard. Like,
you need the big hat.
I was going to say the same thing.
You need the
big hat.
scarf.
And wear suspenders next week.
Yeah. And have your ice pick, your axe.
Might as well. That seems like that would be a game day deal. But the hat for sure. Hat we got to look for.
And you know what? And we're gonna send you a boombox, Maddie.
There you go.
Oh, I can't wait. Honestly,
the bump box.
I can't wait. Yeah,
the bump box in Maddie's garage.
Good night, everybody. See you next week.
Have a good night.
Bye.
For the upstart 49ers, they're 6 yards away from Pontiac. 3rd and 3.
We'll see a pickup sometime on the right side, possibly.
Montana looking.